Okay guys, this video was recorded the first week of the 2016 and I am in a new shop and that's what we'll be talking about, but because I'm in a new shop I don't have internet access, so I won't be able to upload this until I get internet access. So if some of the stuff I talk about in this video is dated, welcome back to Worth the Effort Woodworking. It's been a good 5 or 6 weeks since I've had one of these lunch discussions, a bi-monthly little talk on what we've been doing, what we plan on doing. I try and give you a good idea of our market news, telling you how we've been doing in art markets to give you techniques to help you out deciding if you want to venture down that road. And at the end, I always give you some kind of tool or technique tip to make it worth your while to watch a video. Now, the reason why it's taken us 6 weeks or so to come back out and talk to you again was, if you look around, those ardent viewers will say, hey, he's in a new place. Yes, we moved. At the end of December, at the end of November, my lease was up in Austin, and luckily at the last minute, I found a place I could somewhat afford to move into, way out in the country, about 45 miles out in the country. And between December 1st and now, I basically moved all my stuff twice. Yeah, I'd moved it all into a temporary storage area, and then 3 days afterwards, the guy said, hey, I rented that one. I need you to move out in the next day or two. So I ended up moving everything I owned twice within that month. And we also built a small apartment, office, bathroom, shower, all that kind of stuff in the warehouse for me to rest my head and save a little money until we get this thing going along very well. I do have an upcoming video on how I built a small room in here that I hope you'll enjoy. It'll be coming out in the next week or two. Now in a second I'll give you a brief tour of the new shop, new area. About half of it is going to be set up for the apartment, office, storage, and the other half is going to be my woodworking area. The whole place is about 800 square feet, which gives me about 400 square feet, which is plenty of room. Gives me nice long shots if I want to do that for the video camera. And I would say it's about the size of an extra large one-car garage. So I'm going to be in the same situation a lot of y'all are in. And my tools, if y'all have seen in the past, are very much in the same situation y'all are in. The reason why I did all this is in the upcoming year, I plan on putting a lot more effort into creating online educational content. Both for that Magnus Opus I started last year, converting my 12 lesson course in the brick and mortar school onto online media for y'all. I think that's going to be about 30 to 36 videos, and it might take me 2 years to do because each one of them is just really big. I've only got the first chapter of that 12 chapter course on YouTube so far, that Introductory to Woodworking series, and we will go on from there. I hope to have 1 or 2 in that series produced each month. I'm also going to make a concerted effort to make a project video, several a month, hopefully 1 a week. But what's going to make mine work a little bit different is, in this new business that I'm starting out, I'm hitting the art markets and farmers markets and galleries and stuff really hard this next coming year, and I'm going to take y'all along with me. In the past, I've had a little market news segment in these online videos, and I will continue to show you the projects I'm making for the art markets in the video, but I'm also going to turn my blog dedicated to the art markets so that y'all can see how I do stuff, how I present stuff, how I interact with other vendors, how I find places to go to. Everything I'm doing online, so y'all can follow along, because I know a lot of y'all out there are thinking that y'all might want to do a little side business with your woodworking. Hey, the more woodwork you do, you got to get rid of it somehow. You can only go give so much of it away to your family and friends, so you might as well start selling it. And hitting a farmer's market, art market once every few months to sell what you've made, so that you can go make some more. Makes sense for a lot of people. So y'all can come along and see how I'm doing that one. I'm going to dedicate my online blog specifically towards that, which means the projects I start making for this channel are going to be a little bit more unique than all the other ones out there. My experience selling at art markets is you got to find a little niche, and I'm going to be trying to lift myself up a little bit higher market so that my products can also go into higher end galleries if those gallery owners want to do that. So you're not going to see me making a lot of pins or little knick-knack baubles or, you know, cutting boards, that kind of stuff for my video, for my art market, because there are a lot of other people out there that do that kind of stuff. I'm going to be making mainly containers, boxes, cabinets, that kind of stuff. Now that isn't to say that I won't ever make pins. Simply, but because I do that kind of stuff as live demonstrations right in front of people. So if you see pins at my setup, I'm generally there making them right in front of people, and sometimes handing them the tool to letting them make them in front of them, educating people. That's what makes my setup quite unique in this little realm, because I'm always doing demonstrations. And we'll talk about that a little bit more later on, and on the blog. So, how about I give you a quick tour of what I've done so far, minus some of the stuff that I'll be including in an upcoming video as an example of what we've been working on. So, as you can see, we really are out in the middle of the country. There's a highway right there, which I didn't realize how noisy it would be. That might be a problem for some video issues, but it's just a little office warehouse. I got a little roll-up door and a regular door. Nothing special. When you come in, the way I've got it set up is half of my work area is going to be kind of set up for filming and stuff. Nice spread out sections so I can move my camera around. The only tools or sections I have that are locked down permanently is my sister's lathe. That isn't going to move very much. My workbench isn't going to move very much. And the bandsaw I have borrowed from my dad. Well, I kind of own half of it because I fixed it up. Those are going to be locked in. All my other power tools, you would notice, are on rollers or mobile displays. So I can push them to the side. Now, an upcoming project is I'm going to build a storage section for all this other junk that I have. And that will be all nice and neat. So this half will be nice and open for filming, and it will look pretty and stuff like that. The original section had a small bathroom in it. And if you look up, you see that plug box on the top of the wall. That is the square box that was for the bathroom. I added on this section right here. And I added on a little air conditioner for that. I had a door here. And basically the only way I could afford doing this was because I negotiated 1 month's free rent for the place. But I had to turn in my receipts, so I spent that 1 month for all the materials to build this office. And that was the only way I could afford it. You have a small little bedroom, a bathroom with a portable shower installed, and my office. Kitchen, pantry, and I guess that could be my exercise room. Whatever. And then all this stuff is just some personal stuff I have and a lot of storage for old tools and stuff like that. And that will all go up in this upcoming storage section, which I think is going to be pretty cool. My preferred storage medium for storing tools is I like to just hang them on the walls. So you can see pretty much everything I own easy there. Now, one of the cool things I think I did is I took a half a day. And this is my sharpening station. I've had it for a couple years now, and I've had it for all my sharpening. I converted to just my turning station, so I have a little spot for storing the walls. But I found this lamp in a dumpster, my dad's dumpster, because it was broken. And basically, I drilled a hole in my bench, took it apart, so now I can just slop it in there, and I can light up my turning, which has been a problem I've had for a long time. I thought that was kind of clever. I like doing that. And there you go. Now for my tool techniques and tips, this episode I will talk about how I store a lot of my tools and why I prefer wall hanging versus tool cabinets. Yes, I have a genuine Christopher Schwarz made Dutch tool chest, which he taught that class of my stuff, and all I use it for is as a junk drawer. Pretty sad, but I just prefer having my tools easily accessed either on a wall or my open tote. So there you go, a tour of what I've been doing in the month of December. And these first few days in January, I took a little break and I made some, finished off some of the rough turn stock I have. So I'm all out of rough turn stock, and made a few bowls. I'm trying to figure out a quick and easy way to make plates so I can sell sets of plates in a nice orientation and keep the price relatively reasonable. These are some pecan ones that I made up. I like the shapes and stuff. They're heavy for a wooden plate, but that seems to sell better. And in my rough turnings last month or midsummer, when I rough turned a bunch of stuff before putting them in the refrigerator kiln, I did some hollowing out. So that means I did a recess on my bowls for the larger ones. And I have been blowing up bowls left and right, making lampshades. And normally, when this kind of stuff happens, I just toss them. But I've been going ahead and finishing them up, and when I screw up about a dozen of these, I will turn them all into clocks. I will just make a little tenon right here, put some magnets, and build a clock here, and I'll do a video on that upcoming, just so that I don't waste a lot of effort, and I can take advantage of mistakes for a little cash money. Now, what you can expect from us for in the immediate future is I do have a clock video that I can actually produce while I'm in here, because I've already got all the material milled up. After that, I will probably be doing some turning videos for a while, simply because with the closing down of the brick and mortar school, the move, the build, all that kind of stuff, me being so cash strapped, I have not been setting aside a third of my sales to purchase material to build more stuff this Christmas season. So I really don't have materials to build stuff. So my next material I'm building is for the scaffolding to build the storage section, which I will produce a video for that one. But if you want to see some really higher end square project, boxes, dovetails, more than 10 kind of projects, then consider donating to help me buy some materials. You can do that on my YouTube channel, on the little blue box in the corner, or visiting my website, wortheffort.com/support. There are lots of ways you can support us besides money, especially just spreading the word. But my upcoming projects, because right before I closed up the load shut, I did some milling for a clock series. I'm building 3 fairly high-end wall clocks with secret compartments, regular drawers, folding doors, all that kind of stuff, with some really nice walnut. And that'll be the next build project I have coming up. So you can expect that, along with a video on building my apartment and a video on building storage. Now on to market news. And as I said earlier, this will be the last time I go into a lot of detail on the market news, other than showing you the projects in these weekly lunch discussions. As I said earlier, we worked about a dozen art markets between Thanksgiving and New Year's, and only 2 of them had negative effects due to weather. I got very lucky. One of them was just so windy that the managers didn't let anybody set up their tents, because they were just blowing over. Even with the 60-pound weights on each corner, they were just losing tops left and right, and it was kind of a dangerous situation. And I had a lot of damage to my projects, because even though a lot of my bowls I carry a little bit extra weight on bottom, just for this exact reason, the wind was just picking them up and blowing them. So this is one of those situations I find that if the weather is bad, a lot of times it is not worth setting up, even if you're going to make good sales. Because I had so much damage in the form of little rock nicks and stuff when these things fell off the racks or off the tables, that kind of stuff, that you had to resand them. They're going to be worth less. They don't look as good. That you have to put more effort into them. You lose so much in your time that even though the sales are good, you could make up those sales on a later event with better products, and you're going to be revisiting that market anyways. The other one was just rain. It was miserably, drizzly, rainy, but other than that, they were all pretty good. My best market, we did about $1,600 in sales. Most of my markets during the Christmas season were between $300 and $700. And honestly, that's what you should be doing year-round. If you ever make less than $500 in a market, you're not really making money. You know, I discussed that in a past video, and I will put that the reasoning behind that in my blog. I did try a few new markets. That one that rained out was a 2-day art market in Bastrop that the city promoted, all that kind of stuff, but it was utterly miserable for the vendors and people weren't coming out. But in those situations, if you're going to be showing up anyways, go ahead and stick it out. About 3/4 of all the vendors left the market early. But you got to understand, a customer that is going to that kind of market and that kind of weather wants to spend money. And if you are one of the few markets there, they still want to spend the money. So there's a chance you can get a little more of that sales. In that market, I want to say maybe $100 in sales between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. And then between 4 and 6 p.m., I did another $400 in sales. Those were all the people that were coming in after work or getting in after work, and there just weren't any options for them to spend their money, and they wanted to do their Christmas shopping. So if you're going to stick it out a long time. I also find that I typically get sales at the end of good markets. Other vendors are shutting down. I might start to pack up, but the very last thing I ever pack up is my inventory. I'll be the last one there, but a lot of times you get a last minute shopper. They have money, they want to spend money. You're the only one there to spend it with. Here you go. What do you got? It's just stick it out. Don't pack up too quickly and early when you do markets. And once again, I'll discuss this in my blogs. My best seller, as usual, were those Christmas trees. I did that little video on, and I was kicking myself because of all the moving and stuff I did. I didn't make enough. We sold, I want to say I made about that 200 of those, and I have 2 left, which means I had a lot of opportunity loss, which means next year I'm going to plan better, and I'm going to have at least 500 available. If they don't sell this year, I can pack them up and bring them back out next year. It'll be less to make next year, but I need to have at least 500 of my trademark trees available to sell. I might not bring them out all to the same market, though that'd be a really good display. But I found that on items like that are kind of the same artistic category, the more of you put together, the better they look overall, and people tend to pick more of them. If you have just maybe 20 or 30 of them, well, they'll pick one they like. But if you have 120 of them, well, all of a sudden they see little forests that they really like, so they buy a bunch more. It just works out that way. The other thing I noticed is I did not have enough variety this year. But that was one of those things. I was running a school for 10 months out of the year. I just didn't have as much time this past year, and that's going to change this year. I'm going to be having a lot more product, a lot more variety of products available for the upcoming year, and that's what my main push right now is, to build up my inventory as fast as possible with some really high quality product, but a good variety. And each one of those variety items will be a video for y'all. Okay, how about the tool tip or technique for this video? My preferred way of storing tools is just hanging them on a wall right behind me. Granted, I have had a lot of tools when I was running my school, because I basically had a set of tools for at least 6 students, and so I could teach a class of 12 and students could share a lot of them. A lot of tools, I had 12 different versions. But as far as tools to use, personally, I really didn't have that many. And if you looked in the background of any one of my videos, you can see pretty much everything I own. I have a few luxury items, but I have little toy stuff that I don't really use that much. I just hang them on the wall because they're easy to reach. Now, a lot of people prefer to putting tools in tool cabinets because it protects them from dust and banging, and they move it around. It's a little bit more secure. I've just never fallen into that. I have a tool tote that I built a long time ago, but I like it because it's open, so I can just see my tools. I reach down, I grab it, and I go. And these are my main demonstration tools that I just take this whole box and I go. And when I'm here, it has stuff like my dovetail saws and stuff. Just easy access to the tools I use quite a bit. On the wall, I have tools that I use infrequently, but fairly often. My most used tool, my 1/2-inch chisel, is normally in my tool bench in one of the dog holes. But everything's just nice and neat. If I want to find something, I just reach around and grab it, I use it, and I put it right back up. And that's what I like about these tool walls. Whereas a tool chest, you pull out the tools you're going to use, you need to find a place to put them, and then when you're done using them, well, at the end of the day, you put them back in your tool chest. And that's just too much work for me. I guess you could say I'm lazy. Plus the fact I just like seeing my stuff. It keeps it nice and organized for me. I just don't misplace stuff this way. When I rebuilt this place right here, I had a lot of these plywoods that I had framed with 2x4s all the way around. But this is how I typically did it, with plywood. And I'm using now, I have one for my hand tools, so I have a background for when I'm shooting those videos. I have one over here that has tools that I use fairly infrequently. I have my whiteboard, which I am constantly doodling on, and then I have one for my turning stuff. So it just makes it easy for me to handle my tool organization. Now, how do you build these? Couldn't be simpler. Basically, you just have the plywood right here. And yes, I lined mine with 2x4 so that I could have a little nice edge, and I have a little shelf on bottom. But all you need is the 2x4. You can even use OSB, something even cheaper. Up top, I took a 2x6, and you can see them on the later ones. And basically, I cut it right at some kind of angle. Probably 45. I don't really know. I don't really care. Because I split one 2x6, those two will have a mating surface that exactly does that angle. I then took one side, and to create a French cleat, I screwed it into the wall. Then I placed the other one right on top of that one, and then I held this up against that and screwed through the plywood or OSB into that top French cleat. So now I have a French cleat where I can just lift it off and put it down. After that, you just need on the bottom of it to put another 2x4 as a spacer, so to speak. Couldn't be simpler to mount them. Now, when you do mount them, you want to make sure you hit a good solid stud in several places, because these things can hold a lot of weight. And a lot of times I'll hit a stud, and then I'll also put some of those 150-pound drywall anchors in between them. So I might have 6 or 7 screws along them. In my old place, when I was going into sheet metal, I had like 24 over a 4x8 piece of plywood holding all that weight going into the sheet metal to hold the weight. So it worked out pretty well. Couldn't have been simpler. Now, in the past years, I did use pegboards, but I just don't like the look of them. They don't seem to hold up that long. And these are reusable over and over and over. These same plywood pieces I've had since my San Marcos school 2 years ago when I built them. And they went to the Austin school, and now they're here. Every time I moved, I just took all the stuff off of it and repositioned new tools anyways. And it's super simple. It's why I like this so much. Is if I want to pull a tool right here, I can just drill a hole. Basically, I square it up, and then I lift it ever so slightly. Drill my hole. I have some dowels. I use dowels for this one instead of splitting it out, just because it's not holding that much weight. And dowels are good enough. And you just tap it into the hole, and then you can hang your tool. If you want to reorganize it, instead of having a bunch of holes, just cut it off, drill a new hole, put it somewhere else. It is that simple. I move stuff all the time. And maybe in 50 or 100 years, I'll have so many holes in this thing that it's worthless, but for the amount you spent on the plywood, it's worth it. It's infinitely variable. Just move stuff around when you need to. Some other variations, a way to store stuff on something like this is I have just a shower rod dowel right here. I cut out 2 3/4 holes. I made a little fancy bracket, and that's an easy way to store all my Bailey style planes. Very easy. They just drop right there. I need them. I have access to them. You can create a board, just drill it straight in the wall, and drill a bunch of holes in it for random odd size stuff, like my drill drivers and all the screwdrivers, that kind of stuff. Just drill a hole. For your more commonly used ones, I put a little recess in there so that they're easier to pull in and out. These are stuff I use all the time. Other things, you have a little vase or something that you don't use very much. Sand a square, place it on the back, screw it to the wall, you have a spot for your pencils or whatever. Or worst case scenario, you can always just use a nail to hold up whatever you want. Me personally, because of vanity, I use brass nails, but who cares? Other options is I just put a bunch of pegs into some strips so I can move these whole sections around different places. And right now they are holding my less used turning tools. I don't touch these very much, but when I want them, I don't want to go through drawers or stuff to find them. I just turn around, look for them, and I find them. Other things you can do, how many of us have wine boxes that, hey, they're made out of wood. We're woodworkers. We just can't throw them away. They're not worth very much. They're just stapled together. What use do we have them? Well, just screw them straight to the wall and you have a little place to store stuff. For example, the power sander my dad got me for Christmas because evidently he wants me to start sanding my bowls. And if you're like me, for vanity reasons, you want to put some kind of frame on it, well, basically this is just a groove in a 2x4 that matches the thickness of the plywood, and I turned one to the side, and it's both grooved, screwed. There's a little bridle joint on the side for decorations. You can do any kind of joint right there. You can just do miter joints. It doesn't really matter. I just wanted a little shelf to hang stuff in, so I have a shelf on the bottom and the top on some of these just for extra storage. Once again, these are just infinitely variable. You can do just about anything you want with them. They're very, very cheap. They're a lot easier to build than a tool chest or something like that, and they work well. Well, there you go. The first lunch discussion in the 2016 in our brand new shop dedicated to making it easier for me to make content for you. You can really expect a lot more from us in 2016, and we could use your support to buy materials to make the stuff to show you. I hope y'all enjoyed this, and remember, it is always worth the effort to learn, create, and share with others. Y'all be safe and have fun.